Honourable members, the Speaker.
Member for West Perth, I invite you as the First Lady member in this Parliament, and in fact the First Lady member to be elected to any Parliament of Australia, to deliver the address in reply to His Excellency the Governor, and of course to deliver your maiden speech on this 28th day of July 1921. The member for West Perth.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the following address be presented to His Excellency in reply to the speech he has been pleased to deliver to us. May it please Your Excellency. We, the members of the Legislative Assembly of the Parliament of the State of Western Australia, in Parliament assembled, beg to express our loyalty to our most gracious Sovereign and to thank Your Excellency for the speech you have been pleased to deliver to us. I have much pleasure in submitting this motion. I stand here today in the unique position of being the first woman in an Australian
God help
Parliament.
us.
No more of that, please. Continue, member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know that many people think perhaps that was not the wisest thing to do, to send a woman into Parliament. I believe that men need a reminder sometimes from the women beside them that will make them realise all that can be done for the race and for the home. I have been sent here more from that standpoint than any other. You, Mr. Speaker, are aware that everybody said when the elections began that there were 3 old women putting up for Parliament. I am the only old woman who got in. But then again, I am the genuinely only old one of the lot.
It's a shame that pretty woman in Claremont didn't get in.
I'm sorry she didn't get in too.
Don't encourage them. Continue, member.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I only desire to say that I am ready to help honourable members to these ends. That is all I came here for. And it is also my desire to seek the help of honourable members, because that will be most necessary if a woman's opinion is to have any effect in Parliament.
Who's cooking your husband's dinner tonight?
I will have you removed if you continue with that.
Why aren't you at home with your children?
My children have grown. They have children of their own. They're quite capable of looking after themselves.
What about your grandchildren then?
That is enough. Please sit, member. Remove that man. Member, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. One of my greatest desires as a member would be to introduce a bill to allow women to be admitted to the bar.
Which bar? The lounge bar or the public bar?
Sit down, member. I am on my feet. Show
You're
some
a
respect
wowzer.
for the...
Everyone knows that. Your poor husband probably needs a drink with a wife like you.
Lead that member out, that man out of the gallery now. Please, member for West Perth.
Women should be allowed to practice law in this state. Another cause I would like to champion is the rights of women to inherit the estate of their deceased children. As the honourable members would be very aware, a great number of our fine young men perished in the war or fell victim to the Spanish influenza. Let us hope we never have to experience such suffering on that scale again. Many of them left no will, and by law it was left to the father. The mother was left nothing, even if the parents were no longer living together.
What if the woman remarries and the second husband gets it all, or worse still, his children?
Remove that man also. Please continue, member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable members would also be aware of the scourge of venereal disease that has descended upon this country and this state in the aftermath of the end of the war in 1918 and the return from overseas of our soldiers. I wish to introduce a bill to make mandatory the reporting of that insidious disease that is tearing apart the homes of this state.
It is disgusting that a woman should be talking about such things. You should be ashamed of yourself.
You might think you're very clever getting yourself into Parliament, but you're still the daughter of a murderer.
I am on my feet.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Legislative Assembly of the Western Australian Parliament. To celebrate the 100th anniversary of the first woman elected into an Australian Parliament, my name is Ruby. And by the way, this is John. I found him wandering in the corridor and I thought maybe he'd want to celebrate with us. It is okay to call you John, isn't it?
I do not know what the term okay means, but you may call me my lord.
Well, that's very grand. And what do your friends call you?
Sir.
Stranger in the house, stranger in the house. Please remove this young boy and this man.
Mr. Speaker, I think you will find that that is a young lady, and that man looks very much like Jack Forrest.
What? It can't be. Sir John Forrest died 3 years ago. I was at his burial in Karrakatta.
Today we will look at the achievements of Edith Cowan and at the remarkable changes that have happened in this state and in Australia since her election in 1921.
Young lady and gentlemen, I am on my feet. Please stop talking and remove yourselves from this chamber.
Young lady, is that Mulga Taylor in the Speaker's chair? He was a Labour man, the last I heard. Do you know, he was arrested for conspiracy during the 1891 shearers' strike and imprisoned on the island of St. Helena, no less. Our own little Napoleon up there. And now they've made him the Speaker. Good God. And is that Jim Cowan's wife, Edith, sitting there?
Well, I'm afraid I don't know who's in the Speaker's chair, Sir Lord, but that is Mrs. Cowan, and I am here to celebrate her election in this Parliament in 1921, 100 years ago.
What? It's 2021, is it? Mm-hmm. Good grief. What with that, women members of Parliament and Mulga Taylor as Speaker, I might just have to sit down. Don't worry, little girlie, I can get this myself.
Girlie?
These people here, especially that one, and you, all of you, are very strangely dressed. You are showing your ankles. Disgraceful, this place has gone off terribly.
I cannot begin to understand what is happening here, member. But if indeed that is Sir John Forrest, we'd better save our breath because we will never get a word in edgeways. Young lady, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Today it is Edith Cowan who is the focus of our attention. Just think, in 1899, Western Australia was the third place in the world after New Zealand and South Australia to give women the vote. But it wasn't until 1921 that a woman was elected into an Australian Parliament. The second woman elected into an Australian Parliament was also here.
I think I should remind everyone that this very building is a testament to my strong and determined leadership. It was my government, led by me as Premier, that gave women the vote in Western Australia. I championed the vote for women.
No, you didn't, you pompous old galah. You just wanted the Sheilas to vote for your mob.
Mulga, Do your job and clear this rabble from the gallery.
I do know what my job is, Sir John, and it is Mr. Speaker, and not my nickname. Former member for Bunbury. You can either sit down or you can go back to Karrakatta. Now, young lady, you seem to know a lot of what has happened in this Parliament. You can have the floor. And I remind the public in the gallery and even former premiers to keep silent. Young lady, carry on.
Thank you, Mr. Mulga. I'm sorry, I mean Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
The second woman elected into an Australian Parliament was also here in WA in 1925 with the election of May Holman. May was the first female to represent the Labor Party in any Australian Parliament. She was a member for the seat of Forest.
What? Did you say that a woman, and a Labour woman at that, represented a seat named after me?
Yes, it's quite an honour, Sir John.
Yeah, somewhat dubious honour.
Well, but let's look at what else has been achieved since then. WA had the first cabinet minister in Australia, Dame Florence Cardell Oliver.
Oh, I was never made a dame.
Would you have accepted the honour?
Oh, I think perhaps I may have.
I'm sure you would have.
Well, the list goes on. There are female judges in every state in Australia. We have female speakers in many of the Australian parliaments.
That surely is going too far.
I don't think so, Mr. Speaker. I think it sounds wonderful.
It is wonderful, Mrs. Cowan. In fact, the Parliament of Western Australia has just elected its first female speaker, the Honourable Michelle Roberts. So now there is a woman in the lower house and a woman president in the upper house, the Honourable Alana Clossy. Of the 59 members of the lower house, 28 are women. In the upper house, there are 15 women out of the 36 members. In total, 114 women have been elected to this parliament. Also, the Church of England and some other churches all have female priests and bishops. The Reverend Kay Goldsworthy is the Anglican Archbishop of Perth.
Did I hear that correctly, member? Female priests, female bishops and archbishops, and women as speaker and president, 114 of them. Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh, I am astounded, yet delighted. Oh, brave new world that had such people in it.
Quoting Shakespeare will not remedy the situation, Edith. Next, she will have us believe in female prime ministers and female premiers.
You must call her the member for West Perth. The young girl can call her Mrs. Cowan because she is neither a former or a present member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Actually, Sir John, Australia has had its first female Prime Minister, Julia Gillard. And Western Australia had the first Premier in Australia, Dr. Carmen Lawrence, in 1990.
Mulga, I think I will go back to Karrakatta.
There has been a female Governor-General, Dame Quinton Bryce. WA had its first female governor, Her Excellency, the Honourable Kerry Sanderson. All this a long way from 1921, when there were no toilet facilities for women in this parliament. So Edith would bring in a spare pair of shoes and leave them outside the male toilets so that none of them would enter. Now, she has a university named after her, and I am a graduate of Edith Cowan University.
Member, I think that is one up on a Dame Hood.
I'm lost for words.
Is there a university named after me?
No, but there's just about everything else, Sir John. Streets, plazas, a highway and a high school and even a hotel in Bunbury. I think you're wonderful, Sir John.
A voice of reason at last.
Quiet in the gallery.
I think I should remind everyone that I was granted the right by His Majesty King George V to be styled Lord Forrest, the Baron of Bunbury, but unfortunately I died at sea on the way to London to be sworn into the House of Lords. Otherwise I would have been the first non-British person to be made a Lord. And I do remember you coming to my re-burial at Karrakatta when the government finally got around to bringing me home to Perth. And be a friend of the gallery. I do hope that one day there will be a university named Lord Forrest, or Baron Forrest, or
boring old Jack Forrest.
You brought that on yourself, Sir John. Quiet in the gallery. This is about the member for West Perth. Continue, young lady.
Thank you, sir. Western Australia was one of the poorest of the Australian colonies, to being one of the most prosperous. Our nickname was the Cinderella State, and even in the 1950s we were still called the Cinderella Colony. Today we are honouring the pioneer women of this state and the struggles and burdens that they have to overcome. We also honour the Aboriginal women of this state whose struggles have been a much longer journey. We honour the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we stand, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and pay tributes to their elders past and present and emerging. Edith Cowan had a remarkable energy. She was a member of so many committees, nearly 50 in fact. Edith was a city girl originally. She was born near Geraldton on a farm, which maybe helped encourage her to help set up the country's Women Association. She was a member for committees to help soldiers, nurses, children, promote education, and of course, many committees to help women in their rights, young and old, rich and poor. To understand Edith's great drive and energy, it is necessary to understand her incredibly sad childhood. When Edith was 7 years old, her mother died in childbirth. Her father remarried, but he was a violent and troubled man.
Please, no, please don't go on, please.
I am so sorry, Mrs. Cowan, but people must understand that your achievements came in spite of your enormous hardships. Her father shot and murdered his second wife and was subsequently hanged at the old jail at Beaufort Street in Northbridge. This deeply affected Edith, and it was a burden that she and her family have had to live with for the rest of their lives. Edith overcame this terrible period of her life by devoting herself to others. And after her marriage, at 18 years old, she went on to have 5 children of her own. However, it was in this chamber in 1984 that a bill was introduced and passed to abolish capital punishment. And I wonder what Edith Cowan would have to say about that. That in 1984, no family in Western Australia would have to live with the disgrace that her and her family have had to live with since 1876. Edith Cowan suffered greatly in her life, but she went on to achieve amazing things. So, to conclude, please join me in acknowledging her remarkable life and her remarkable achievements. Edith Dirksey Cowan. If knighthoods and damehoods were ever brought back to Australia, I am sure without a doubt that she would be awarded one. Ladies and gentlemen, Edith Cowan and the women of Western Australia.
As one of the first Australian-born persons to be knighted, I would like to congratulate Mrs. Cowan.
In this chamber, she used to be referred to as the member for West Perth.
I know what the protocol is. Thank you, Mr. Wombat. Mr. Speaker. Edith, you're to be lauded for your work, not only in advancing the rights of women, but all those you believe to be underprivileged and in need of care and attention. So, Edith...
She must be referred to as the...
Mulga, it's 2021. I've been dead for 103 years. I can do what I like. Edith, you're an adornment to this state, this nation, and indeed all womanhood. On behalf of the people of Western Australia, I thank you for all you've done. God bless you, Edith Cowan. Now, everyone in the chamber, please rise and join me in a round of applause for the member for West Perth.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you to all the women and the men who have accompanied me on this journey. I thank you.
I think that calls for the finest champagne that the Strangers Bar has to offer, don't you think, Edith?
You know I'm fearsomely anti-alcohol, Jack. So, no.
All right, then, tea it is then. All right, come this way. Come on, come on. Well, you know that now that there are toilet facilities for women in the Parliament, you won't have to bring in a spare pair of shoes. Isn't that a wonderful idea, Edith?
No woman will ever have to do that again. After all, Jack, this Parliament is now run by 2 women.
But you were the first, Edith. You're 1 in 100.
1 in 114, to be precise.
Sure. There we go.
I know where the Strangers Bar is. I will lead the way.
Very good. All right. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep the applause going for the fine cast for Edith. John Forrest, you have Michael